Hello, guitar friends. You're never going to sound like Jimi Hendrix, and neither am I, but we can get a lot closer than we've been getting. And there is so much misinformation out there on Jimi Hendrix that I've seen it more than my heart can bear. So we're not going to go into a note-for-note breakdown of the intro on Voodoo Chile Slight Return, but we've got to address a few key things. Stevie, love him as I do, Stevie's forever got a free pass, get out of jail. There is no such thing as even needing to get out of jail if you play that good and if you're just that fluid on the guitar, and Stevie was playing Voodoo Chile the way that Stevie felt it. But the way Stevie plays it is not how Jimi did it on Electric Ladyland, certainly. It was a different bag. And I'm not the Hendrix police, but at the same time, it helps to sort of have a good starting point before we start changing things a whole bunch, unless you're just mind-numbingly that good. So, what can we extract from Hendrix? First of all, think about the placement of your effects chain, and think about, do you want to put your wah-wah before or after your fuzz? Now, I'm using a germanium fuzz here because I love the MJM London fuzz. It's just a really good sounding fuzz. The Roger Mayer stuff pairs better with the Roger Mayer stuff. I just don't happen to have Roger's germanium, and I love a germanium. I know, of course, Jimi, I have a number of different fuzz clones because we got to have those in our toolkit if we're going to approach the land of Jimi. But anyhow, right now I'm running the London fuzz, and I have put the fuzz after the wah. So I'm hitting the wah-wah first. I'm hitting the vision wah first. So experiment with that, and you can scour the depths of the internet and find a lot of people who are very certain they know exactly what Jimi was doing. But do you really know what Jimi was doing in the studio? Neither do I. Maybe Eddie Kramer does. Okay? So experiment. And next thing is, once you've got your stuff set up, you, of course, mute all 6 strings. Everybody does that. But what are the intricacies of this, and how are we going to actually approach this instead of just doing a bonehead thing that's the same over and over again, muting all 6 strings and then rocking the wah-wah? You can do that, and it's not going to sound bad, and it's still going to sound like the intro of Voodoo Chile Slight Return. But if you listen closely to Hendrix on Electric Ladyland, you can hear a whole world just in that much. And instead of just every time hitting all 6 strings, he's working the entire frequency range of the guitar in conjunction with the wah-wah. He was an absolute genius. Absolute genius. I'll stand by that, having taken such an academic approach to music for over 25 years. He's one of the greatest musicians who ever lived. I don't care. You can stack him up against anyone else. One of the absolute greatest geniuses of the guitar. So instead of just getting one sound across all 6 strings, why can't you work a few strings at a time? If you just go, say, 6th, 5th, and 4th string, the sound cuts off more in the middle of the frequency spectrum. If you go all the way up, you get more of a treble kind of. If you stop on the B string, that's different too. And you can hear all that good stuff when he does the intro. And he knows exactly what he wants, and he goes for it. So right there, now immediately I've changed my approach. I'm no longer going across all 6 strings at once. I'm alternating. And I don't know that there's a rhyme or a reason to it. I'm not thinking about this academically. I'm feeling it at this point because I've been doing this a long time. But and that's still not really exactly the record. It's what Jimmy's doing. There's so much subtlety in it, and it's beautiful. But it is the loose idea. So first of all, experiment with that. Next, you can also play the range of the guitar. I make no claim that this is what Jimmy was doing in the studio. All I got is my ears to go by. But if you study like rhythm guitar techniques and old rhythm guitar techniques, and Hendrix was like one of the greatest rhythm guitar players who ever lived, there's a lot of range in the guitar. Just in the sound, am I going to be back here by the bridge or up here over the neck? If I kicked off this wah-wah and went into some other Hendrix rhythm guitar approaches, you'd see immediately that I'm working the guitar, because I saw him doing stuff like that and all this footage that I paid attention to, and these tones I tried to get into my mind and into my hands. So you can do the figure eight thing. Like you watch like old swing guitar players, and they're, you know, doing a figure eight pattern from the bridge up to the neck and back. Why can't you do that here too? It's only rock and roll, but I like it. So right there off the bat, there are like three things to think about that I just mentioned, and they're all gonna factor in to getting this pretty accurate. Okay, so pay attention to Jimmy's groove. He had the greatest groove, the greatest sense of feel, the greatest sense of time. And just in that intro, even before the kick comes in and there's anything from the drums, right off the bat, his sense of time is impeccable. So focus in on that. It's not the sort of thing you're going to put a click track on and practice along with. It's the sort of thing you have to just play along with records and internalize and develop a good sense of groove and a good sense of feel with it. Then, after you get through that muted intro, you're going to go into the classic lick. A lot of people still play this wrong. It's not this. That's close. That's very close. It's this. And actually, I put one hammer on in there that doesn't quite belong there. But the big part is you're going part everybody knows. And I didn't tab this out, and I'm not giving away stuff like exactly note for note. It would take too long, and it would be way too in-depth. But these are just like the quick soundbite answers for everyone. Once you get to the 5th string at the 7th fret, you kind of hammer on from the 5th onto the 7th. And then when you go back up to the 3rd string, you trail off of that last note. It's like pulling off 9, 8, 7. That's part of the way he sounded when he did it on Electric Ladyland. In the right hand, again, I don't know that Hendrix did this, but I'm doing it. Straight pick, followed by the back side of the fingernail of the index. I'm just brushing the strings as much as I can to get that fluid kind of sound. So the second time he plays that, he doesn't trail off. Just shakes the string with that great vibrato. Of course, tuned down. I am tuned down a half step. Because Jimmy was tuned down a half step. Usually I don't like to tune down a half step. I'm a stickler at keeping the exact right tension on the guitars as they're set up. But for Jimmy, all right, I did it. Then you got to do the lick again. So what is that? I think it's 4 times. And when you get to the end, you do the classic, and then you're into the full band is in, and you're into the main riff of the tune. So just 10th fret, second string and you're bending it up a full step, and it's back to 8th fret slight bend, and then the root note, 9th fret, 3rd string, and you slide off of that. And you're rocking the wah-wah with that. We don't have time exactly to get into the exact wah-wah pattern, but you can get that from, if you want something, just listen to it and you'll get it. If you listen to it enough, I promise you will get it. And you've got Hendrix to guide you, so, you know, in that respect, why do you need me? You just need me for some of the things that aren't going to come exactly off of the grooves of the record, I think. So stuff like, you know, we talked about earlier. So once you're out of that lick, you slide down the fingerboard. You can hear them slide down. And then you're going to go ahead and kick off the wah-wah, and you're just into the main. And that's a totally separate section. And, you know, we can cover more of that later. But that's just a little bit about getting the intro right. I'll see you the next time.